Loss here. Got a couple questions for you. One, do you like D&D? Oh, who am I kidding? Of course you do. That's why you're here. Do you like music? Probably. Most people do. Do you like D&D with music? Now, if the answer to that was yes, I got some good news for you. Today on Behind the Screen, we are interviewing the one and only Weston Gardner, or as you might know him as, Arcane Anthems. That is correct. We've got Arcane Anthems in the house to talk about music, to talk about D&D, to talk about music and D&D, talking about our imagination and beating our heads against a wall. You know, all the fun stuff. So why don't you go ahead, join us for the ride, and I'll let Brad actually do the intro. Take it away, Brad.
Hey there, and welcome to Behind the Screen, the podcast where we sit down with your favorite TTRPG creatives and talk shop, share stories, and take a peek behind the screen. I'm your host, Brad Silman, and with me always is one of my four best friends, Loss Wendell.
Yo! See, that's all I do.
It's Loss.
I don't know why you built it up to be something
Loss,
huge.
It's perfect. I love you. Thank you so much. Loss, tell me, please, what are we doing here today?
Today we are talking with the one and only Weston from Arcane Anthems. Yay!
Is that where I say hello?
That's
You know what? No.
Okay.
You know what? No, you actually don't get to say hello.
I'm gonna
Loss, it's yes
You
and,
wait.
okay?
I'm gonna wait.
No, but
There was a distinct pause.
yeah, you were supposed to jump in there. I didn't. No, but for real though. First off, hello.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me on. I am very excited to chat with y'all today.
We're excited too.
I love just like sitting around and talking shop with people. So this is a joy.
Oh
Perfect.
yeah, same.
Perfect.
First off, congratulations on your Crit Awards nomination.
Thank you. Year 3 of being nominated.
Hey.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
This could be your year. This could be your year.
You know, I like it as for the bit, honestly. Like just getting nominated, 3-time nominee, just 4-time nominee. It's great. No,
You're just gonna that means you'll eventually get an honorary award.
They have to give me something eventually.
At some
got
point,
it.
they're like, "Look, we're on the 10th nomination for this guy." It's like Al Pacino in oh God, what was that movie?
Great setup, Lost. Great setup. It's like Al Pacino in that movie. I forgot.
Well, absolutely. Al Pacino's done tons of those. Just so many.
No, I'm looking this up now.
How would you choose, honestly?
Sense of a Woman.
Oh, Sense of a Woman. Okay.
Scent, not sense.
It could be
Sense of a
Sense.
Woman.
He
won.
did. That's
he won
the
for
sequel.
Sense of a
Many
Woman,
different scents.
but not for any of his amazing movies from the 70s and 80s.
I will be the Arcane Anthems of the Crit Awards. That's
Hey,
that's
I like
for
that.
sure. I will absolutely be that.
No, my dad is from Ohio, and we grew up watching terrible Ohio sports teams like the Cavaliers or the Browns. And there's a saying after they lose the season or the playoffs or whatever, there's always next year. So I don't want to call you the Ohio of
don't. That's
the Crit Awards. I'd much rather call you the Jackie Chan of the
I
Crit
get it.
Awards.
Yes.
But you know, there's always next year.
Well,
he hasn't
or
lost
this year.
yet, Brad.
Listen, I'm going to. The point, I think the most beautiful thing about this, honestly, is that like I'm not going away. Like this is what I love to do. Telling stories through song is my favorite thing to do,
And
I'm
well.
only going to be doing it more. like this is whatever happens at the Crit Awards, whoever wins, congratulations to them. It's gonna be fantastic.
Of course.
And there's so many really great nominees this year too. But yeah, I've been doing this since 2016. Like
Yeah.
I'm not stopping because I don't win a Crit Award. Like again, I love a bit, so this is fantastic.
Great. Moving right into a game, just to keep this ball rolling. It's a this or that with you. So the last time we played, it was a dice breaker where we roll a dice and whoever rolls the highest does this and that. But we're throwing it out the window. This or that. Musicians, okay?
Yes.
Now I've just pulled up a random top 50 bands of all time. Okay.
Oh, this is gonna go so poorly for me.
Oh,
I
hold up.
love this assumption that because I make music, I like know stuff about musicians. let's dive in, folks.
This is the list looks very popular. I'm sure you know at
Sure.
least half of it. Okay. And
Here we go.
all right, we're gonna start. Panic at the Disco,
Okay.
Blur.
Oh, I do know both of those. I would do Panic at the Disco.
Same.
Panic at the Disco,
Good choice.
or the Police.
Oh wow, that sucks. Send an SOS to the world. Let's stay with Panic at the Disco.
Okay, Panic at the Disco or Aha.
Panic at the Disco.
Okay, Panic at the
Aha
Disco.
has like one song that I like.
but
They have one song.
But that's it.
listen,
Yeah.
they have more than one. We just only know one.
Respect, deep respect to Aha, and all that they've done for the music industry,
Okay.
and
Panic at the Disco.
and the illustration industry actually.
right.
Go ahead and move on.
Panic at the Disco or the Clash.
For me personally, Panic at the Disco.
Okay. Panic at the Disco or Iron Maiden.
Damn, is there Panic at the Disco without Iron Maiden?
That's
But that's not the question. Panic at the Disco.
okay. Panic at the Disco or curveball. Ready? The Temptations.
Oh, dear me. Or one of the foundations of pop music.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Obviously, it's the Temptations.
Wait,
Well,
not necessarily.
Well,
this is for him.
Here's the thing, though, is that I didn't like. Did I grow up listening to Temptations albums? Yeah, actually I did. However, have I listened to more Panic at the Disco albums and spent more time listening to Panic at the Disco? And is my music more akin to Panic at the Disco? Yeah, it is. So I have to say Panic at the Disco. This
Man, I
again,
like
this
this.
has nothing to do with like who is best. This is not
No.
what the question is. This is
It's
just
subjective.
this or that.
It's completely subjective.
Ugh.
All
I
right.
hate that Panic at the Disco is getting so much airtime because their
right.
lead singer is such a piece of garbage. Anyway, go ahead.
Is he? Is he a piece of garbage?
He's just not a nice person. No.
Okay,
He's just not,
okay.
not a nice person.
All right. Panic at the Disco or Green Day.
Oh, Green Day.
We move on.
That is
We move
that is
on.
that is a switch up. Green Day for sure.
Green Day or Daft Punk.
Why me?
I mean, they're both great. I told you
Green
this is
Day or
popular.
Daft Punk. I'm gonna stick with. Oh, this breaks my heart. I'm gonna stick with Green Day.
That okay.
Sucks. I hated that one.
Green Day or Phil Collins.
Phil Collins.
Yeah, the Tarzan soundtrack. Once you have a kid, you listen to that
Phil
song.
Collins.
and
Yeah,
you're just
Phil Collins. Phil Collins has hit after hit after hit after hit, and it's
I
just
agree.
a prolific songwriter.
Done. Phil Collins or Rush.
For me personally, Phil Collins.
Yeah. Okay. Phil Collins or AC/DC.
Phil Collins.
Phil. Okay. Two more. Okay.
Okay.
Phil Collins or Queen.
Oh damn, Queen.
Yeah. Okay. And we're gonna end out on the hardest one. Queen or the Beatles. This is for you personally. This is not who's the greatest of all time. It's, I mean, which, you know, they're both like, in my opinion, they're both right there. That's just me.
Okay, so fun fact: I used to, as a kid, I used to not like Queen, and it was because I found their music to be a little like pandery.
Okay.
Because it was very, very much audience focused, right? And as I grew up, I started to realize how beautiful a thing that is, and like the synergy that they created in their shows, and like that idea of writing parts for your audience is so beautiful. Like it's such a cool thing. Obviously, I've actually done tons of Beatle covers. I was in a Beatles show for a while.
That's awesome.
Dope.
And so I adore the Beatles. However, I'm going to say Queen. I'm going to say Queen for this one. I think that the Beatles they are again probably the most prolific band of all time.
True.
But Queen did something that they didn't. And I think that's a hard thing to do when you're talking about the Beatles. So
I like that. That was great. And that is our game. This or
There it
that.
is. Well, man, that took it out of me.
All right. That's all we have for today.
Thanks everybody for coming. I've been Arcane Anthems.
That last question really was tough. Those are literally my top two favorite bands.
It's rough.
It's
I mean,
rough because
it was gonna come down to Beatles and somebody else, right? Like it always
of course it always is.
Yeah.
And for me, the answer is usually always the Beatles, but that Queen one is hard because it's like you said, like I grew up on the Beatles.
Yep.
I didn't grow up on Queen, but I got to Queen in about like 7th or 8th grade, and have since loved both. And I have vinyls from both bands. Like I know all of their discography for the most part by heart. Like I love a lot. Queen won me over with a lot of their B songs.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember I like stayed up one night. I was watching. I don't remember what the fuck I was watching.
Wayne's World.
But a commercial came on for Queen's greatest hits album. The 3 platinum version, the like 3-disc set. And I was just like, I wrote down the phone number to call the next morning to just like order myself a copy. Don't laugh at that.
I also think it's really interesting that both Queen and the Beatles, they both had this air of tragedy around them. Like both bands for different reasons, right? But it was I feel like that's really interesting to have like these massive bands have these like tragic events occur to them, and to see like what that did for their music, like how that like walked their music forward. Yeah, well,
the fact that Brian and Roger are still touring and doing stuff even after Freddie and John Deacon passed away.
I think it's a beautiful thing that Queen kind of invited their audience to be a part of their band, and that has continued. Them, like they had one less person to lose, and we've seen over and over again singers take on that role of Freddie Mercury, and that's a cool thing, like to take on that persona of someone and to live up to those very, very high expectations. I adore talking about music.
I could talk about the Beatles all fucking day.
He could. I've seen him do it.
I would love to listen.
That's our next podcast.
You come on my podcast, and then I'll just ask you a question about the Beatles.
Done. In.
We'll be set.
Well, let's talk about D&D and TTRPGs in general. Like, so for me, I got into D&D like legitimately in my 30s. What got you started? Had you always been playing growing up, or did you have like friends introduce you or family introduce you?
Never touch the stuff. Never touch the stuff. I had heard like whisperings of D&D and like how the games were when I was like late teens. Like some of my friends played, but I never played until 2015, and even then it was me having to convince my friends, because I actually got into board gaming because I fell out of love with music. I had been in a rock band for 10 years, and I became very burnt out and very cynical, and I couldn't even find music that I liked anymore. Like being in that industry is hard, and not being noticed and working so hard at something and like pushing the gas pedal as hard as you can for so long to see like no results effectively is really hard in any field. And music is one of them. And I was just trying to do it by myself. I didn't have any really mentors in the space. Me and my bandmates were just doing our best, and kind of one by one they dropped out. But then a member of my band was like, "Hey, we're playing board games at my house now. Like, do you want to come over and play?" And lucky for me, like we still are in the renaissance of board gaming. I mean, we have some of the best board games that have ever been created coming out. And at the time, we would play like Dead of Winter and Pandemic and Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Of course.
So many incredible games, right?
Betrayal's one of my favorite board games of all time.
And so we would play all these games, and it was so much fun. And then I was on Imager. I was just like doom scrolling Imager. Yeah, right? This is wild to me. I was doom scrolling Imager, which is like the image version of Reddit.
Yeah. Right? I was on Imager before I was on Reddit.
Yeah, me too. It was a visual medium. And I saw this one post that said something about voice actors playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, huh, that's interesting, but Dungeons and Dragons is pretty nerdy. I'll probably never play that. and I like swiped past it. And then half of that got me, and I was like, but I am like interested in voice acting.
Dope.
And it's like I love doing voices. I love all this stuff. But I was like, all right, like maybe I'll give it a listen. And that was Critical Role. And A good place to start. And so I started listening to Critical Role, and I started going on walks around my neighborhood just to listen to Critical Role and to get in shape too, but like just to listen to Critical Role. I would download 3-hour-long YouTube videos and turn them into my own podcasts before they had a official podcast.
That's
this was I got started in episode 23.
Oh,
or
wow.
something.
Campaign one?
Of campaign 1. Very early on. They'd only been doing it a couple of months.
Yeah.
And this was back in Geek and Sundry days.
Yeah.
And so this thing captivated me to the point where I brought it to my board gaming group, and I was like, I would love to play D&D with you all sometime. And they all said, Weston, that's way too nerdy. Like, there's no way we are playing D&D with you. They all were against it. They were all against it, all like 7 of them. They're like, nah, no way. So I used a board game. And I used a board game called Mice and Mystics. And Mice and Mystics is an RPG in a box by Red Hat Games.
Okay.
And so they all inhabited these mice, right? And each one of these mice had a different class, and you would level up and you would gain items throughout this adventure. And I ran it like a DM would run a game of Dungeons and Dragons, or a GM
so
would run
cool.
a tabletop game. And so there was like 6 of them playing.
Yeah.
And they got so into this. And at one point, they turned to me and they were like, okay, Weston, we see it. Let's play Dungeons and Dragons.
We understand.
And so
Victory.
yeah, like I won them over through board gaming, which was, I thought, pretty genius. And I will never.
No, that's
Of course.
And the only reason I found about Mice and Mystics was there was a really great thing that Will Wheaton was doing called Tabletop.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Incredibly good show, just absolutely phenomenal show. And now Becca's doing a Parlor Room, which is also very fun and very,
I love that.
very good
I
like
love that
reinterpretation.
show.
Parlor Room's great. So they got into D&D, and I started playing Dungeons and Dragons as a first-time DM, having never DM'd ever before in my life, and with all brand new players. So we were all brand new, and I have dyslexia and ADHD, so reading's not really my thing. So Critical Role taught me how to play the game, basically in the best way, really, which is the narrative aspect of
course.
it. In my opinion, is the storytelling aspect of it, and that's how I ran Mice and Mystics, and that's then how I ran Dungeons and Dragons. And we finished. We did a 6-year campaign, and we finished that campaign in 2021.
Wow.
And it was a really beautiful thing, full arcs with these characters, and it's just really special, really very, even in the moment, and this is something that I try and do all the time, but even in the moment, I would often look around the table and be like, this is so cool. Like, this is these feelings of newness and exciting the first time that you make a character and you don't know how dual weapon mastery works, or dual weapon fighting. Like, there's all these questions, and there's all this potential, and there's this, you're creating a story like you've never done in your entire life.
Oh, for sure.
With this other group of adults, and you're rediscovering play.
Yeah.
And it's everything.
That is literally like one of the things was taught in my acting classes. So that's also one of the things I do, which is why you were like, it's hard, to be in a business and not work. It's difficult in that regard, like without the recognition and stuff.
Definitely.
Because that's also what I do. But we're taught, like, you're just a kid again. You're playing in the sandbox. You're finding the imagination. You're refinding like the inner you, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And to use that for everything, honestly, to take that and put that in almost every aspect of your life is just a phenomenal feeling.
Definitely.
It's beat out of us.
Yes.
Like it is beat out of us. It is discouraged. It is frowned upon. It is villainized.
Agreed.
And
sports are nothing when we were growing up.
And sport play is good. Like, it's great. It's team building, but imagination? Are you kidding me? Like, the most incredible inventors in the world have these incredible imaginations. Like, there's all these people who do incredible things with their imagination, and we just forgot about all of them.
Yeah,
I guess.
But for real, we don't even consider that they had to use their imagination to come up with any of the tools that we currently use.
Yeah.
Including like the microchip.
Absolutely.
Or fucking the light bulb. Like, that took imagination that just, like you said, I do very much agree with this, and it not depresses me, but it saddens me a little bit that art and the use of your imagination is kind of thrown to the side, and they just assume either technical skills or just hard labor is the route to go. Like, I also grew up in sports.
Yeah,
so
me
like,
too.
I love football. I love soccer. I played soccer. I watched football. But at the same time, I didn't tap into myself until I did like Odyssey of the Mind in 10th grade, which was writing your own little scripts and putting them together through a through line of whatever they assigned you. Yeah. So I just wanted to bounce off that because I feel like that's very unspoken too, that we don't actually think about how we're kind of trained not to really use our imagination. And then until you play something like this, or especially in your adult life, specifically in your adult life, it's wake up, work, go home, go to sleep, rinse and repeat.
Well, and for me, it was not only was I teaching everybody and myself D&D, I was also teaching all of my friends how to role play and how to play again at the table and how to act and all these little things. And there's so many amazing tools out there. I think one of my favorite experiences was we have a player at the table who is a little bit quieter and probably the best role player out of all of them. And so her and I devised this plan because she was playing a rogue. And I found this Thieves' Cant tutorial.
Oh, basically. Cool.
So mid-game, her and I start speaking back and forth in Thieves' Cant to each other. And the entire table's like, what is going on right now? It was so awesome. The amount of those moments that you can create in these games, you will never forget these moments, and how you can do it in so many different ways. You can have an incredible map that you bring out. You can have these beautiful minis. You can have a letter that is distributed to each person. There's so many things that you can do you can have lights change to make these moments really memorable. And then you also don't have to have anything, and they will still remember your game. They will still remember the climactic finishes. They will still think back on those moments as if it happened to them.
Of course.
Which is the coolest part about all of this, right?
It really is.
Thinking back on those adventures.
So then going off of that really quick, I got a question for you. What's a slad tadpole?
Oh, the slods. Yeah.
Slod, sorry.
It could be slad. I don't know. D&D pronunciations
it's
are wild.
Double A.
Slade, slowed, slide. They're from the astral plane. They can say whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had this really incredible moment where my party split. The party decided to go to two different like entirely different towns. We're not talking about splitting in a dungeon. We're talking about like going on separate adventures for a while. We had two going off to the desert for a buddy cop comedy, and then we had three going into this bog of a horrible place. They got all their money stolen. They like almost got murdered by a demon. It was a fun time. But while they were in this disgusting swamp bog area, there was a couple of constitution saves that were failed and different things happened, but I never told them what it was about until about a year and a half later in game, right? And I was just sitting on this piece, and I bring up that like, hey, do you remember when you fought this extra dimensional creature a year and a half ago? And actually what I said was, hey, your character takes 80 points of damage.
Jesus.
And they all looked up at me and said, what? yeah. He takes 80 points of damage right off the rip. And they all said, wait, what's going on? And I said, oh, you feel something is wriggling inside of you, and is ripping you apart. And so all their eyes go wide, and one of them's like, it's that freaking slad thing that had the like back in the bog. Like, and I was like, yeah, you don't even make a history roll because they actually take notes. So anyway, in the middle of the city, this one of their favorite characters is getting eaten alive from the inside out.
For sure.
And our cleric decides that he's a surgeon.
Oh.
So our cleric.
We always think that way. We always do.
Because I mean, healing in D&D is just absolutely overpowered. But he's like, okay, well, I got to do something, and so like slowly this guy's health is ticking down, right? So he's like, scalpel, and and so they take the smallest dagger that they have available to them. They rip open this paladin, taking even more damage, as he's getting cut into, and I have him reach into the belly of this paladin and rifle around. This is a string of like medicine checks.
Yeah.
And this freaking cleric, unpunishable. This guy came in as a prince who had like tons of platinum, would just like call mommy and daddy to get more, and like this is kind of part of his character. But sure. Never punished, never rolls badly. Dude rolls like a 27 on this medicine check and grabs this tadpole, and then casts Banish on this tadpole. And I was like, that's so freaking brilliant, because then that creature instantly gone, and because it's not from this plane, it can't come back.
Goes back to its own plane. Yep.
And then he starts, using lay on hands and like tries to get this character back up and all as well. But like moments like those, make this game absolutely unforgettable. And we still talk about it to this day, right? We still bring these things up as if they happened. This guy saved this paladin's life.
It's such a cool thing when you do things like that, because like the very first game I ever ran as a GM, because I started with Lost in our current group in a Star Wars Age of Empire Genesis system, and
Edge of the Empire,
so fun. And then started playing D&D. Our DM was like, I'm gonna take a break. Started at my own game. Had this story all planned in my head, and I am trying to get Loss's character to solve this mystery. And I had it all, and it was so stupid. It wasn't great in any way, shape, or form. And then Loss just did the yes and perfect thing, answered with his character's. He was hiding his character.
Yes. Yeah. That is.
Said his real name, which was a first for the party to hear. And just literally opened up the floodgates for the world to just continue to evolve in ways that I had not even imagined.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Do you know
Brad
what I'm saying?
had 3 riddles that he had pulled up.
Stupid.
And the answer was a heart. But I didn't know that. So everything he described, because it was like you're within yourself. You're beating red, but on the outside you're black. Stuff like that. I was like, oh no, that's my character.
He's a black dragonborn.
Amazing.
And just went into the history of his character, and we're all just like, that's exactly it. That's what I had.
Brad didn't have that planned, and we were just like, I was like, Brad, that's so brilliant. I can't believe you did this. How'd you figure this out? And what I want to say,
I'm just good like that. No.
It wasn't like until a couple months later they were like, okay, for real though. It was a riddle. The answer was heart. I just,
Yep.
Your answer was too good, so I just said yes. This.
Well, and then that becomes the history of your world.
Of course,
exactly. And
which
that's
is
how
kind
we
of
got
like
to doing the podcast. It was through that game that we decided we're like, we're
2 things. I want to continue on this, but Weston, I just want to applaud you real quick for holding on a secret for 1.5 years. Because my friend, I want to tell them everything as I'm thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? So I am just all hands to you, man. It's just
always having that in my back pocket and understanding kind of like how much time needed to pass for this tadpole to evolve. It was great because it wasn't something that I had to say anymore. Yeah. Like they had they. Like I was waiting for the opportunity to present itself of a good time. Like I had like an end date, right? Where like if it doesn't happen by this time, it's going to happen. So like I was waiting, like maybe they were going to talk to a healer, and that healer was going to like mention something. Maybe they were going to talk to some kind of extraterrestrial being, and that thing would attack all of them except this one party member. There's a lot of options that could have happened, and you just keep these little nuggets around, and then you just grab them whenever you need. There was this dwarven bell that they never rang. they never rang this thing, and they had it for 5.5 years. They never rang it, so I was like, that's fine. But like I have all these little things to rely on, and then with their ideas I can then tie it to these parts of the story, and then it feels so easy. It feels like, oh yeah, this was always the plan.
Okay, so you were in a band for 10 years.
Yes.
You got burnt out. You found board games, and through that D&D. When did you decide to put everything to start doing the songs online, and start doing the social media presence that you are currently have today, as well as everything else that you are now in?
I mean, he's a 3-time Crit Award nominee. Okay, show the man respect, Lost.
so sorry.
Yeah.
But like, when did you decide? I'm gonna start putting videos up, and then when did you decide to kind of like go all in on those?
So a character died in our campaign.
Yeah,
and it impacted me in a way that I wasn't expecting, and I had to really work through those emotions, and like, that unsurety of like, did I do the right thing? Like, should I have not allowed this to happen? And I was just kind of going through it, and I wrote a song based on that feeling. And I stayed up to like 2 a.m. writing it right after the game, while I was kind of fresh in those moments. And I stayed up late and I wrote this song, and then I went to bed, and that song kind of became the character's song, because they were able to bring back that character. And then, I'm not just going to write a song for one of their characters. So I wrote a song for every single one of their characters.
of course.
And that was really fun. But I wasn't writing like rock music. I was writing like orchestral pieces as best I could, and I had never really done that before. So I was kind of learning on the fly, making that happen. And that is a tradition with me, is that because I never had anybody to guide me through the music making process in my life.
Yeah,
nobody ever really said I couldn't just figure out how to do orchestral music. Especially in the information age, where we have YouTube and you can just learn. Like, you can just start learning, and there's going to be somebody out there who's going to teach you. And I'm a huge believer in the fail, upwards kind of,
Yeah.
And honestly, like a lot of the failures that I attribute to music making, others don't. Others listen to those songs and love them. In spite of their imperfections. But that's what started happening. I started writing music for all of my characters, and then I said, I wonder if other people want music for their characters in the same way that they want art, or they want little trinkets, or they want whatever it might be. And I had never heard of anybody doing that before. I didn't know if anybody had done that before, and I spent the next 4 years trying to show people how amazing it is to have a song and a theme for your character. And I started this idea called Make My Anthem. And that's what I was on Instagram doing for 4 years, very unsuccessfully. I wrote about 50, or in the social media sense, I wrote about 50 or 60 commissions for different people, and those people loved those songs.
For sure.
They loved them. And I just kept pushing ahead. And in that age, it really wasn't video. Instagram was like trying to compete with YouTube, and that really wasn't working very much. So they had like Instagram TV.
I remember that.
And that wasn't working for them either. But I tried all the things. I made video on that platform. I collaborated with artists to try and like use like their art to grab attention and put really cool music behind it. And nothing worked. Honestly, nothing worked until TikTok happened. And that was the end of 2019 for me, when a good friend of mine who I'd made through this music and D&D stuff invited me, like, hey, you should really get on TikTok. I think you would do really well. Because I was doing a lot of speaking to camera stuff for 4 years on Instagram. And I think in those 4 years I gained 600 followers. And I worked hard for those 600 followers. I was working so hard. And then on Instagram, or on TikTok, I was like, okay. So I like went on TikTok and I was like, what is this? What are all these people dancing around for? It at the time, and even still today, it's such a intimate platform.
Agreed.
where people and cosplayers and musicians would just look at you and perform for you and open their souls for you in all these different ways. And it connected with me in a way that social media hadn't really before. Where it became a lot about building these relationships. And I studied TikTok for like 3 weeks, figuring out like, okay, how are people using these audios to like make stuff, and how are people doing these things? I didn't tell my wife I was on there because it was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
In the same way that it was embarrassing to start learning to play again in Dungeons and Dragons, I was starting to learn to be free and be cringe online. Like be playful online and care about something again. And so I started doing TikTok videos and immediately started garnering attention because I wasn't afraid to be a goof online.
Sure.
I wasn't afraid to be authentic. I wasn't afraid to be myself. That would come later. No, but like, and so for me, it was very easy. I'm like, this is a breeze, and I'm gaining thousands of followers from this. Like, I spent 4 years on Instagram, and I barely cracked 600. So in a couple weeks to then be looking at 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, I was like, I've made it. You know, like I've made it. I did it. And then to meet all these other amazing creators that like I just thought they did the coolest things, and they had so many interesting, neat ideas. Other D&D musicians I was finally meeting on these platforms who were doing parodies like I was doing, and that's really where things kicked off, right? I was doing all the normal like sketches and like audios and things, but once I started doing the parodies is really when people started paying attention to me.
I mean, that's how I found you, like honestly, back in like the 2020,
Absolutely.
2021, something like that. I remember seeing, I can't even remember what song it was, but I mean, I've seen you do your Pink Pony Club last year, and your Killers. You did a Killers cover last year as well, too, I believe, or early this year. I don't remember, but you do so many of them, and they're so phenomenal.
I figured that I could, with my music knowledge that I had gained, I could go harder than anyone else could doing parodies. You know, like, and that was the idea, is that I would do professionally produced parodies for Dungeons and Dragons, which makes no sense. Like that's, but that's what the internet is like these people who are and I'm not saying I'm the best, but these people who are very good at certain aspects of their life, bringing it into this sphere. And this is what I always say to encourage anybody who is wanting to get into social media is, what do you have that is different than everybody else? What new thing are you bringing? And you know, if that's cosplay, then combine it with whatever it is that you're trying to promote, right? Like combining hobbies is what creates new hobbies, is what creates new fan bases. It's what will garner you attention. So what are you bringing that is new and different to the community? I know that was a very long story. Oh my gosh.
No, it was great. It was phenomenal. It was great. No, it's a really strange thing because social media has always been something that I've been scared to kind of like go into or dive into. And then to start on TikTok when we started the podcast 2 years ago for our actual play, and just slowly start to build a following of, like, we have 1,000 followers now, which is, to me, it's like, how... Our Instagram's like 70, but you know, I mean, obviously we talked about that, but it's just a strange thing. These people all care about community and all care about what you have to say, as well as feeling as if they're being heard. Because, like, you know, I try to comment on everything that somebody comments on, or if I have a mutual on TikTok, comment on their stuff and just make them feel like what they're doing is important, because it is. Just like what you're doing is important to you. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. The TikTok creator community has always really fought for each other. There were some things happening while people were trying to figure out what this app was, and like, what is interpretation versus just theft? You know, like what?
Sure.
And because nobody had done this weird, you know, audio thing where we're all doing the same thing to the same audio. Like, that was very fresh, very new, very different. But yeah, being able to like bring all of that, and then every other platform tried to emulate what TikTok was doing. And that was really good for me. You know, like, because like I finally found a platform where it was working, and now these other platforms are like, hey, we want to do that too, and I was like, great, I got some videos for you, like we got this, and
we got this.
Would you say that TikTok, because you said you pretty much started doing this all in 2019, like that's when you kind of
the November 2019 is when I started doing stuff at TikTok.
Did you find the TikTok community and all that to kind of keep your sanity during the pandemic?
My
how were you
Discords,
affected in the social media to help you on that? Sorry.
No, I saw this question. Being a part of creator Discords and sitting in calls with people who I deeply respected and had really great conversations with, and the very next year I quit my job at Apple, and I've been doing this full time since 2020.
Fucking dope.
Wow.
Which does not mean that I've been making a ton of money. That's not what this means at all. But it does mean that I've been able to keep my sanity. I have been able to live a life that is consistent with my mental health needs. I have ADHD. I have anxiety disorder. I have panic disorder. I'm mildly dyslexic. Like it makes for some very hard normie jobs, right?
Yeah.
To have those limitations and to have those specialities about myself. So this has saved my life. And so, yes, absolutely, yes. And in fact, it wasn't just me who started doing TikTok stuff. It was once I started seeing some growth and I was like, this is working. I showed this to my wife, and she's been doing it since 2020. I showed this to my sister, and she's been doing it since 2020, not in Dungeons and Dragons stuff. My wife does gardening and and my sister does ADHD content because I found out ADHD. All my other family members were like, wait a minute, what about? And then they all got their diagnoses, and it's helped all of us. It was not just huge for me. It was huge for everybody during the pandemic.
For sure.
To have this place where we could congregate and we could connect. And that very unique thing of that storytelling intimacy on TikTok, where it was like being on a FaceTime call with somebody.
Yeah.
And just listening to somebody else and not feeling like all the absolute quote unquote unprecedented moments, you weren't alone. You weren't stranded. You weren't isolated from the actual things that were happening.
No. It's a very interesting thing because that makes me feel like today I posted something on social media about I've been really this week has been awful. I'm just going to put that out there.
Sure.
I mean, this will probably come out next month. So who knows what atrocities are happening in the world at that point. But I've been feeling this week has been really difficult in just the world. And I've been really thinking about this song from Into the Woods, the musical by Stephen Sondheim called No One Is Alone. Right. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. But
I've seen that musical many times.
It's a fantastic musical. The best.
Into the Woods. Yep.
Sorry. But no, that musical and that song just kind of speaks so true to like how I'm feeling right now. And it almost gives me that same kind of feeling about being in the pandemic, right? If everyone was connected to a different degree. Yeah, we weren't with each other physically, but we were there connected not only through social media, but we were connected through Zoom calls, playing D&D with each other. And, some people were lucky enough to continue to work in some capacity, but everybody was affected. Everybody was feeling the same thing. Everybody was just with each other. And I kind of get that feeling right now. There's a lot of that kind of, hopelessness is kind of like the feeling I'm getting at the moment. But I do think like we are all in this together. We are all feeling connected. We are all there has to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, I went on a big rant there.
Yeah, no, I understand. You're saying we are the world. We are the children.
Oh man.
Well, but we do see that, right? We see people being like, "Oh, actually I can stand up against this." And we see them standing up.
Yes.
In ways that we kind of relearned to do during the pandemic. Like we saw the BLM and the what was it? All the George Floyd stuff, all the Stop Asian Hate stuff. All the
Yes.
like people started coming together to fight against what we already saw was a turn, right? And we kind of learned how to mobilize. And now we can we are actually stopping people from being deported from this country,
Which is beautiful.
which is an incredible thing. In spite of, we're not using military. We're people are actually using their bodies as shields.
Yep.
To stop these atrocities from happening. And this has been, like you were saying, this has been a ramp up.
Yeah.
So Dungeons and Dragons is.
I'm so sorry I took that turn, guys. I really am.
This is the reality of our situation right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And it will affect every game that we make. It will affect every story that we write. It will impact the way that we tell our stories at our tables, because D&D has always been an amazing place to find catharsis. I'm not saying that it's not therapy. D&D is not therapy. Go to therapy. Therapy is different.
Right.
But it can be cathartic.
Yeah.
To fight against forces familiar to you that you want to see fall.
Yeah.
And fight for things that you want to see rise. And even for a couple hours, live in a world that doesn't have the atrocities that ours has.
Yeah.
To live in a world where you get to fight against a dragon instead of fighting against homophobia. We create these worlds in ways that can be cathartic to our souls.
Yeah.
Right? And anyway, that is today's C word is catharsis. That's what we're better than many of the C words out there.
I mean, I guess it depends on the situation then at that point, right? The C words. The C words.
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I have many Scottish and Australian friends who could who have other favorite C words. But.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Okay. I'm going to ask a question. And this might not go anywhere, but that's fine. I love musicals. And you
Good for
said
you.
know. Oh, well, actually, you know what? Not a question. I just wanted to make a statement. World, I love musicals.
Loss, we know.
The
You tell us
end.
all the time on the on our podcast. Everything's a musical. You play a bard.
Can I do a little humble brag just for a second about musicals?
Please do.
And this is going to be a little bit of a story, but yeah, you wanted me here. Is comes down to. So when I was in high school, we did Little Shop of Horrors in high school.
Love that music.
And I was a choir member, right? I was just a member of the chorus. I was playing a unhoused person. That was my role. That was my official role. I'm sure in the early 2000s it was something not appropriate for today's language.
Yeah.
But that was my role. I was a sophomore in high school, and I was like, great, this will be fun. Low pressure. 2 weeks before the show premieres, my director comes up to me. He's like, hey, Weston, we need you to do the lead role for the show.
You need to play Seymour.
We need you to play Seymour. We need you to learn all the songs, all the choreography, all the blocking. And the show opens in 2 weeks. Can you do it? And I said, yeah. having never
He was eating.
No, he was doing other things and not going to practice is really what it came down to.
First off, it's amazing that he just went to you.
I was a real go-getter back in those days. I eventually became president of the choir department, and I was known in those spaces. And I had a very good voice for a 15-year-old. And I was capable. I was in lots of honors classes, which suffered horribly in that 2-week period. That I think because of that, I didn't take certain AP tests that I probably should have taken. But then, and this is the wildest part. So I'm one of 7 kids. So a lot of us went through that choir, theater, speech program, right? And my youngest sister was doing a show. So I was very much out of high school at that point. I was in my late 20s, married, had a kid. And the lead for Children of Eden, their show.
Sorry, I got real excited because
my sister
Adam,
was doing.
So, yeah,
oh, you were Adam. There you go.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I turned down the role of Adam when I was in high school because I couldn't handle it. I was overwhelmed. But they offered they again
2 weeks.
2 weeks before the open of this show, this same director who was still teaching at that school calls me up and is like, "Hey, Weston,
we need you to play Adam.
You're never gonna believe this, but we need you to play Father."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a lot older now. Like I was in my late 20s.
Right.
And so I had 2 weeks to prepare to play Father in Children of Eden for like a couple nights. I think I just did it for 2 different nights.
That's awesome.
So anyway, kind of funny. Again, humble brag.
Yeah.
Keep bragging.
I'm proud of that. I pulled it together. So
I'm proud of you.
It was
That's
wild.
awesome. That's
You don't need it
fun
from
musical
us.
theater stories.
You don't need it from us, but
Okay,
we're
well,
proud
so
of
no,
you.
then this makes my question great. It was a very simple question. What's your favorite musical?
Oh,
If you say Cats, I swear, I'm ending the call now. I'm ending it now.
I do remember that I had this like, you know, in the 90s they would make all these like compilation CDs.
Yes.
They'd make compilation CDs of everything.
I still have like 3 of them.
Because playlists didn't exist. So they just made compilation CDs. So I remember listening to Mr. Mistopheles.
It's the only best song.
Over and over and over again. Because I was like, this song kind of rips. Like
does.
an 11-year-old.
It rips.
I was like, it really does. But no, it's not Cats. I think my favorite musical is... No, I don't know if I have a favorite musical. I do have a favorite show, and I think my favorite show is Midsummer's Night Dream. I think is, and not even because of the show. I think that it represented a certain time in my life where me watching that show and seeing my friends performing in that show
Definitely
connected with me in a way that I will never forget. Sitting in that, at the time we called it the Little Theater. I'll never forget sitting in that theater watching my friends do this show. And that was a really powerful moment for me. And I went back and watched it several times because of that. So that one has really stuck with me.
I get that. That's like You're in Town for me. It's the same situation. You're just watching your friends on the stage and you're just sitting there being like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I have already said Into the Woods.
Yeah, Into the Woods is very good.
All 3.5 hours of it. Not the movie, but the musical.
The musical is a masterpiece.
Of course it is. Of course, Shrek the musical too. Let's just throw it out there.
It's hard to beat Sondheim.
No, nobody can. Rest in peace. You know, he's also a character in Dimension 20. Sondheim.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Steven Sondheim?
Yeah, he
He shows up.
He shows up.
I mean, they're pushing the envelope. But like,
I know, right?
Okay, Unsleeping City, season 1. Steven Sondheim is a character, and he does come back in the final fight to help them.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
He's like a level 20 bard paladin compo or some shit like that. I don't remember, but it was just ridiculous. I mean, that's the same kind of like bit of the yes and of being like, oh, Steven Sondheim here? He's here, of course, yeah. And you talk to him, and then like he shows up a few episodes later. So, but yes,
That's
Steven
very
Sondheim.
good.
Yes. I suggest everyone watch that. That is, it's one of the best ones, Unsleeping City. So beautiful.
Next
Thank
question:
you.
what is your favorite actual?
What's your
Your favorite actual play musical? Actually, that's.
Speaking of, you already kind of spoke to it about creating music or using your tools to be able to tell the story or to enrich it in some way, shape, or form with all the character songs that you created. The same thing kind of goes with like us, right? Like in our second episode of the podcast, Nick's character said, do you want to do a dance off? And I'm like, no, dance off is not appropriate for an audio medium.
For an audio-based podcast.
No,
Like,
so I
hover
said-
the moment.
So he
Grapevine,
goes-
grapevine. Turn. Pirouette.
Step ball change.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 kick. 1, 2, 3 kick.
So he goes, all right, well, how about a rap battle? So we freestyled. Yeah, we freestyled on the second episode. 7 episodes later, I antagonized him and just destroyed him. And then end of season 1.
Well, hold on. Don't.
I did.
Don't
I did.
glaze
Come on.
over it.
No,
He
I'm cutting the podcast right
He
here.
had
I'm gonna
a
put the clip
backing
of it.
track and a 3-minute song that he was like, we're going to do another rap battle. And I was like, all right, I'm ready for this.
He did
And
good.
then music started playing and I'm like, oh.
I'm not ready for this. Then the fear goes into your eyes. is what
Yeah.
happens.
So Dylan, don't glaze over. You crushed me with a song that you wrote.
Mm-hmm.
You found the backing track and you wrote it, which inspired me to do the same
Yeah.
to you
He
at the
did.
end of the arc.
moments like those, like adding your little flair, your little piece, just feels great. It just feels great.
Music, music in D&D, music in
storytelling, movie and
in storytelling.
movies,
Yeah,
everything.
Exactly.
It's huge.
That's like the basis of a musical. When you're so full of emotions, the only way to get it out is to sing, right? And
it is the movie or the show telling you how to feel.
Of course.
Like
or
music,
video game.
Or
Sorry,
yeah, absolutely. Can you like there's too much ammo and this music is not it. Like we are in trouble right now. Yeah, it is in charge of telling you how to feel. And so when you incorporate it into these games, you can control the tone. Like again, you just turn on a song. The tone is set. You're done. I think Zelda does this in a really great way, where you walk into, like, it can be hell on earth. Ganondorf has taken over. Everything's on fire. The moment you walk into like a shop and they're like, dun, 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 you're like, yeah, everything's fine. I'm just like, you're in a safe location. You're in a safe place.
Of course. Exactly.
So yeah, music is.
It's a really strange thing. I remember being in this. This is a very vivid thing. 6th or 7th grade. I just got done playing Final Fantasy X, and the music in that game was phenomenal. And I think that got me into fan fiction, got me into writing movies and stories and things like that. And then now just continuously adding that. Just music, just again, it brings that tone that you're trying to tell as a GM or as anything, But no, that's it. I'm sorry, I don't know. I love video games. I love music. I love how it just kind of, and even anime. I'm just gonna say it, like Naruto. Just back in the day, Naruto Shippuden, you hear all that stuff. You're just with them. It's phenomenal. My Hero Academia's got the same kind of stuff to it. Frieren, I don't know if you've watched Frieren.
I have seen every episode of Frieren.
I'm giving you a high five from Austin to San Diego. Boom, there we go.
Yeah,
Freeren's nope, lost. I've told you to watch Frieren so many times.
Too much lag. The ping is too high. So whenever I'm writing songs, I think that my superpower as a songwriter is my ability to translate how people want a song to feel into what they actually are looking for. So like whenever I am, and I've written over 300 songs at this point, which to me is a huge deal, because as a in those 10 years of me being in that band, I probably wrote 7. It was storytelling that taught me how to write songs and gave me so much inspiration, and parody that taught me how to write songs.
Of course.
And as somebody who, I think of myself as a sorcerer, because I don't know how the music happens, really. Like, I'm not a huge music theory guy. That's not really I don't know what chord should come next. I don't know what chords I'm playing, to be totally honest with you, most of the time. But when somebody contacts me to write a song for them, I will actually start by saying, give me 3 adjectives, how you want this song to make you feel.
Yes.
And then, tell me about your story. Tell me about your game. But mainly, tell me about how you want it to make you feel, and give me a song or a couple songs as a reference. And the reason I do that is to tell me what kind of instruments they actually want to hear, because that's really what you're listening to. The tempo, the key, and the instruments is really what I'm pulling from those musical things.
Yeah.
But then I get to sit in that. I guess, okay, we're going to start in this key, or we're going to start in this key. We're going to start in this tempo. And then I just get to write a song that feels like they're adjectives. And most of the time, 95% of the time, I nail it. First try. I'll be like, how about this? And they're like, yup. And
holy shit, he did.
And very, very, very rarely, but it does happen, is they'll be like, okay, so this isn't this is a great war anthem, Weston, but I didn't want it to sound melancholy. I wanted it to sound sad. And I was like, oh, okay, I can make that adjustment. And so I will write something brand new and I will make it sad. And like, I think acting taught me to go for the 10 and then have them bring you back, right?
Yes.
So like you listen to their direction. When they say I want it sad, you give them sad. You give them as sad as you can do, because most of the time they're gonna be like, yes. Yes,
Yeah,
I said sad and I
yeah.
wanted sad.
It's way easier to go from big to small than small to big.
Yeah, I can always take something out, change some notes, make it less sad something. But that idea of connecting with emotion is with music. You have to connect with these emotions. You have to know what you are writing and what you want your audience to feel when they're listening to it.
For sure.
And to me, when people are like this is a music hot take for me. In my opinion,
actually, hold on, Weston. You couldn't have segued better.
Okay.
Because we know we have to wrap up with you soon, but we actually do end our podcast with hot takes.
Fantastic. I got hot takes.
So let's dive into your hot
Music
takes
hot take.
right here.
Music hot take. Melody is more important than lyrics.
100%.
Always has been. Lyrics can be whatever you want, and if it has a good melody behind it, it will mean so much more. Melody trumps lyrics, in my opinion, 100%. Maybe that's because I'm dyslexic. But do I try and write good lyrics? Of course I do, but really I try and focus on writing melodies that are going to stick with people and that they're going to want to sing, right?
Of course.
And then my D&D hot take is that multiclassing should not exist.
Yes.
It is either it's one of two things, right?
I'm so with you.
It is one of two things. Multiclassing is either people wanting to break the game and makes balancing encounters way harder. Or it's people who don't understand how it works and then they underpower their characters miserably. It is one of those two things. Multiclassing may have been built to be a narrative device, but it breaks the mechanics every time.
Yeah. All right. Captain Multiclasser, would you like to rebut?
No, I'm not.
Do you have a rebuttal?
Listen, I've only played D&D twice.
Every
I'm
character
just
who wants
kidding.
to multiclass.
I am friends with Offbeat Outlaw, who is like the king of multiclassing and power. What is it? Power scaling.
Yeah.
These min-maxing.
Yes.
These characters.
Hey, that's not a good word. Okay, I'm kidding.
Well, again, it is a hot take for a reason, because some people like to play Pathfinder. Play Pathfinder. Play Pathfinder. Play Pathfinder. I think that Pathfinder, the way that Pathfinder does it is much more crunchy, and that's really what you want. D&D doesn't need to be crunchy. There's a reason that 5e blew up the way that it did, is that it's simple and that subclasses are really effective in creating, or they should be effective in creating your diverse character. You should be able to have a cleric that subclasses into a more nature rangery type of character.
Of
right?
course. Right.
You should, but instead they have this multi-class thing that's just kind of a brought over from earlier editions. Anyway, that's my D&D hot take, and that's my music, somewhat hot take.
I will say this with the music hot take for sure. I am 100% on board with that. You don't have to persuade me in any way, shape, or form, because really one of my favorite bands. Well, I have two favorite bands, and I feel like both of them are that kind of way. Wilco is 100% in my mind, just completely I hear the melody more than I hear the lyrics with Tweety, and then that makes me want to listen to the lyrics and digest it, right? And then early killers from Hot Fuzz to Day and Age.
Oof, those are some good albums.
Those are great albums.
Those were some good albums.
Those are some great albums. And I'm sitting there and literally Bones. I remember hearing Bones from Sam's Town for the first time. And I'm a drummer. I've been drumming for 20 years. And to hear Ronnie Vannucci do what he does in that song, just that specific song, just I feel it. I feel the energy. I feel the melody more than I know the lyrics. That's just me. And with I'm gonna argue with you on the multi-classing. I do agree to some extent, but I think there's more aspects to it. You gave two, and I agree. But the reason why I multi-class is to try to find narrative. Well, it's one that I'm not having.
To prove my point.
Maybe so. Same thing happened in the last episode with Loss. Okay. I do want to explore other paths of becoming stronger. I'm not saying min-maxing. I'm not saying
He's not saying it. It's there.
It's there. No, it's not. But to become stronger, but narratively fit it into the game, right? I'm not going to do something that destroys the work that my DM has done. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. I don't think that's multiclass isn't built for that though. It is not. It is not built to be a good narrative way of doing that, because it can be good narratively to be both, a cleric who becomes a monk, which is like that sounds super dope, right? That sounds super cool. But unfortunately, mechanically, it's either you have to study it so that you do exactly all the right things and have all the right resources available to you,
Fair.
or it's completely worthless.
I get what you're saying.
And that's why I know it's hot. I know people like multiclassing.
I'm with you. You might have persuaded me. Okay.
I was gonna say, this is coming from me, somebody who loves card games like Magic, and I played BattleTech growing up. There's a bunch of like Lorcana. There's a bunch of cool card games. I hate deck building.
Yes.
Hate deck building with a passion.
Yes.
I just want to play the game.
Yes.
And like somebody else has done the work to like build the deck well, and I'll just take those cards, and that deck looks fun and I will just play the game because the game is super fun.
Right.
Not like having a ton of cards. Anyway, go ahead.
With you.
Sorry,
there.
go ahead.
No, I wanted to give a music hot take. Okay.
Sure.
This is not 100% with every musical artist out there. I'm just gonna put that. That's my caveat. Okay. I think musicians who have multiple albums, like big ones, they become their first few albums are great, but then drop off after the other one. I think that's almost 100% for all of them. Like there are some that actually evolve and become better. There's some that stay stagnant, but I want to say most of them have like one or two, maybe four, and then just drop off. That's my hot take. You can disagree, you can agree.
I think that is an interesting take, because I think that when you look at it from a much wider lens of not just people who have record deals, not just people who are making albums, but I think that the bands or the people who make a record that is really, really good, it's that they have built up all this ability, all this talent, and then their first album just happens to be the one that connects with everyone. Whereas other bands, like Phoenix, for example, it was not their first album that connected with everybody. No. Their whatever, however many albums that was, it was one of their, their fourth or their fifth that connected with people. Yeah. So I think that idea that you have actually comes from a limiting perspective.
Okay.
Of the music industry as a whole, and of artists as a whole. Whereas like, I was creating EPs when I was 16. Yeah, those are gonna suck. But just by the time that I got good enough, and I was in tune with my surroundings enough to know like, oh, this is a hit. Did you kind of see what I'm saying? Where
I
it's
see what you're saying.
The only thing that we see are the successful pieces, and what you're saying is that what you are seeing is those successful albums being their first or their second or their third. So I think that albums are happening all the time, but it's those ones that are also the ones that are most curated, right?
For sure.
So like,
for sure.
They usually have the most hands in the pot, the most people who are trying to make it as poppy or as popular as possible. There's a lot of reasons, but I think that's a very interesting take.
Well, could you expand it to maybe filmmakers or not actors per se, but like the way they say the reason why I was thinking about this earlier today, because I knew we were going to do this. Yeah. Like I was thinking about Quentin Tarantino, right? And I think his first 5 movies are phenomenal. I think once you get to Inglourious Bastards, it kind of starts to decrease in just, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's just ruined it for me, but do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Jackie Brown was phenomenal. I feel like Reservoir Dogs was great. I feel like Pulp Fiction, obviously, and you get to Inglourious Bastards and maybe even Django, and then it kind of starts to decrease a little bit. So that's all where I'm coming from. And even with like The Killers, right? Like I said, up to day and age,
I do think there is another element to that of artistry, and this is something that I'm constantly doing as a social media person. Is I have to make one for the algorithm, and I have to make one for me. And once you get enough hits, and you don't need the algorithm anymore. Like when you become as big as, Quentin Tarantino, getting a movie made, you can get a movie made.
Of course.
So you start making art for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what art should be.
Man, I feel bad now. I feel like my hot take was...
You chose the worst. You couldn't have chosen a worse example. The man only has like a handful of movies, and they're all fucking hits.
One after another. But here's the thing: is like I know that Death Cab for Cutie, right? So like one of my favorite bands of all time. Love them to death. Ben Gibbard is a genius.
Of course.
Multiple times, albums that I've really enjoyed, Ben was like, yeah, I kind of phoned that one in. So yes, so it could be a burnout thing
for sure,
but also it could just be that they just want to make music for them.
You know what? Thank you. I'm sorry.
So and their fans, I always call them their top 1000s are going to love that.
Of course,
like,
for sure.
Because at a certain point, you just love the people who are creating the art.
Of course,
right? And you love to see those. I just recently saw the Rocket Summer and May in concert, two of my favorite bands growing up, and it was nostalgia trip like wild. But May hasn't released as many albums, but the Rocket Summer has been making albums one after another. That dude cannot stop. Bryce Avery, again, another genius. And I forgot my point, but it was just a cool show. I just want to talk about the show. It was a great show. Made me cry. Go see May and the Rocket Summer. I guess the tour just finished. So like you can't go see somebody else. But go see live music in small venues. That is a cool thing, and the thing you won't forget. Live music in small venues is special. Speaking of which, come see me at Gen Con. I'm doing my first acoustic performance as Arcane Anthems.
Are you really?
So dope.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There are 4 tickets left out of 70. So if you want to be one of the lucky 4, but yeah, this is an opportunity for me to be okay with being good enough. And that's something that I've struggled with for a long time, is that like my goals were always to be, to be the Killers, to be a huge person on stage that, everybody knows who I am. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of every musician's goal, because that's almost necessary to keep doing your art. Right.
Yeah.
And, or to get paid to do your art.
Yeah.
And, so this is my opportunity. I haven't played a live show in 10 years, and I used to do it all the time. I used to do it monthly, and so it's just gonna be me and an acoustic guitar playing my original music, playing a couple parodies, maybe a cover or two, and I've been practicing it and bringing all my contemporary songs over for the past. I've been working on it for 6 months, like taking all the songs that I've produced and putting them onto the acoustic. Mm-hmm. And it will. I think it will. I hope it'll be a special thing. It's not going to be me up there being a perfect musician. I've never been a perfect musician. I've always forgotten my lyrics. Mm-hmm. I've always misplayed chords. Yeah. I've always messed up rhythms. Like, that's not the point. The point is that I have worked for a long time on music that I really care about, and I think that because I care about it, that other people care about it too, and that even with my imperfections, that they will enjoy it, and that it will connect with them, and that it'll take them on an emotional journey. And that's what music is to me. That's the whole point of it, is to connect on a level. That's why I started doing it, and I didn't even realize why I started doing it, but to connect immediately on a deep level with somebody you do not know.
Yeah.
Because that's all I've ever wanted. I cannot stand the like small talk stuff. I don't do it well.
Yeah.
Right. And I get how important it is to communicate with somebody who you do not know, who you don't have a shared background with. Small talk can connect people in really interesting ways, right? It can open up doors to people who have very different views about things.
Yeah.
But I love to connect deeply with people, and that's why I love music, and that's why I love telling stories, is that you get to connect deeply even before you know them. You can connect deeply on those things. So I'm very excited for that show. I hope that it goes well. It's going to go as well as it's going to go. Like that's the thing. Is it's going to go as well as it's going to go. you have to do that with D&D sessions too, where you're like,
Yes. I've
I've done what I could do, and then the rest of it is going to be all my imperfections that are going to be messing me up. The rest of it is going to be, just I'm not that person yet, and that's okay. Like you don't not go to a session because you're afraid of it.
Right. I mean, look, are you having fun? If so, other people are going to have fun. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
I'm so
All right.
happy for
and
you.
on that note, we're going to wrap things up. Because that was just a really great
It's a great
thing to end
bookend,
on. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
This has been a amazing conversation. And I'm glad that we could just have a conversation and go all over the place in it.
Really did.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me here. Thanks for reaching out. I'm glad that I caught the email and that we were able to finally connect.
Finally.
After, 3 attempts or something?
Yes, no.
You just gotta, if the first one tries, try again. If that one fails, try, like failing up, right?
I literally was just about to
going.
bring that up. It was like, I remember back last year, I think, in November, maybe even like April of last year, I was like, hey, do you want to do this? Because we're thinking about doing this. And you were like, yeah, that sounds like fun. Crickets, 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 crickets on my end.
Sure. Yeah.
April around this year comes around. You want to do this? Sure. All right, June, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go. But no.
Is there anything else you Gen Con, is there anything else you would like to plug / promote?
I'm in about 4 different panels at Gen Con. I will not be hard to find. I might be in too many panels, actually. I think
No
I
such
am.
thing. No such thing.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I think I'm doing at least one a day, which might be too many.
wow.
But if you want to say hi to me, I love saying hi to people. I love taking pictures. I love playing music. I probably won't have my guitar on me. But if you're one of 4 lucky people, by the time this episode comes out, you'll probably not be one of those 4 lucky people.
Sorry.
But you can still show
now.
up with generic tickets and try and get in, I guess. Maybe there will be standing room only, and I'll be loud enough that you can hear me in the hall.
I mean, Weston doesn't have instruments with him, but if you show up with a guitar,
Please don't.
Now
Please
I
don't.
could play you a song, which is really cool. Like,
it's absolutely something you definitely want to happen in your life. It's just a random person walking up with the guitar and saying, "Let's go."
And I'll say my Venmo is right here.
Excuse me. You got me on that one.
Listen, I like eating. I like paying for my mortgage too. I do. I really, really do. So
I thought you were going to go with hey, don't bring him food while he's, randomly sitting there. A person comes up to you. Hey, eat this.
Again,
Olive Garden.
you bring me a guitar and $100, I will play you some songs. Absolutely.
You heard it here
100%.
first.
Yes.
Guitar and $100.
But I am doing my show on Thursday before I lose my voice, so no guarantees.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think we're going to end it on that. Weston, where can they find you, just in general?
So I am at Arcane Anthems on every single social media you can think of. I'm even on Tumblr. I am on Twitter, but I really don't check it very much. Yeah. For reasons that are obvious. Same reason I don't drive a Tesla. That and the money thing. But again, $100. But you can find me everywhere on the internet. If you want to commission me, you can shoot me a message on any one of those platforms. But also my email is the easiest way to do it.
Definitely.
I just love being in this community. I think it's special and cool, and storytelling will never die.
No. I agree.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Weston, for coming on Behind the Screen with us. Loss, anything?
Yo!
End it like how we started. End it how we started. All right. Well, we will see you guys on the next one. Stay heroic out there. Bye-bye.
Well, that's it for the episode today. Thank you for listening to Behind the Screen with Brad and Loss. We hope you had a good time. Please follow us on our social media platforms like Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and of course, Discord at HeroCast_ATX. We here at So You Want to Be a Hero wish you a good day, week, month, and year. Stay heroic out there.